Hey family, so I thought I'd do a quick video talking about what I think so far about the Quran. It's a very beautiful text. I haven't only dug the surface, but I thought I'd share some ideas with you, and I really self-reflected about it a lot, and I hope you will agree with me, and I hope it doesn't cause any controversy. But I've noticed some people will say you should wear a hijab when you read the Quran. But here's what I will say to that. The hijab to me is a holy object from another religion which I have not been properly ritualized into, nor has my knowledge been advanced enough to the point where I have the honor to wear such a garb. I don't look at it as a costume. I think when you start asking people who are not truly in your faith yet and who are exploring it to wear the garb for it, I think that pushes a lot of people away. And what I mean by that is, so in my class, one of my world literature classes, we read about Joseph in the Quran, okay? Now, imagine if the professor told everyone reading the Quran, you have to put this hijab on. There would be a lot of legal issues with that, right? You'd have Catholics, Buddhists, Taoists, Confucianists, Presbyterians, you'd have Mormons, you've had atheists, you'd have all kinds of groups who would say, well, that's not fair. It is a piece of literature that we want to read and explore, but we don't want to have to conform to that necessarily just because we want to explore the text. And I personally think that if someone is wearing the hijab, there is a duty of behavior that comes along with that. And when you wear it, you are representing an idea bigger than yourself. And if you can't conform to those ideas, then you shouldn't wear the hijab. And that's how I look at it. So I don't know enough about Islam yet. I'm exploring it, and I'm exploring it as a scholar, a philosopher, an intellectual, an academic, a human, and it's speaking to me. So I need to listen to what my inner guidance is telling me, and I have to trust myself and that the way I'm approaching it is the right way. I think that if you start asking people who are not in your faith to wear it, a lot of people might be afraid and might shoo away from it and say, oh, well, there's too much controversy around this book. I might as well not read it. I don't want the drama. Therefore, I will not explore it, right? And I'm trying to help others along with myself explore a book that is very taboo in America. And y'all might not know this, but I'm very involved in politics, and right now if I were to wear a hijab and I'm not officially a Muslim and I don't know anything about enough Islam to even wear it, to have the honor and the responsibility of wearing it, I could get physically attacked, I could get publicly ridiculed. I could see a lot of problems coming from that, not only from maybe Muslims who are a little more strict, but by other religious communities where they personally know me and they would say, well, have you properly done all the rituals? Do you know all the rules? Are you officially saying you're a Muslim? Then, and if you haven't, you shouldn't wear it. And there's a term we have in America that's growing called cultural appropriation. And if you're not part of a culture, a lot of people now say that you cannot wear something of another culture if you are not part of it or have if you don't have the permission to wear it. And for example, if my mother would see me wear it or my grandfather, they'd say, well, have you converted? And I would say no. They'd say, well, then why are you wearing it? You're actually doing a disservice to that faith. And if you do anything wrong while wearing that garment, say anything different contrary to that faith, you're actually causing it harm. You're being a bad representative of that faith if you therefore wear it and you don't believe every principle or even know every principle. I've never even been to a mosque yet. So I don't want to jump the gun. I don't want to rush into anything and make a mistake. It's a serious responsibility. It's a serious vow to pick a religion. In my own consciousness right now, Mufti Menk has spoken to me, and he is the one who I'm going to listen to, and he's the one I'm going to follow, and I'm going to read the Quran, and those are my two sources right now that I'm going to listen to. So I'm sorry if you see the videos of me reading the Quran and you get offended that you can see my hair, but have a little bit of faith and know that if there is a creator, which I feel confident there is, but let's say he will speak to those in the degree that they are ready to deal with, right? And from what I've heard a lot about Islam is there's this concept of patience. You have to have patience. You can't afford. It would be very disingenuous of me if tomorrow I just started wearing a hijab and I didn't know what it really meant. I didn't know anything. It'd be a very insulting. It would degrade the religion. It's kind of like, look at the way we wear, not me personally, but like let's say our tradition of Halloween. You can wear funny costumes, right? Well, people now have started to say, well, people shouldn't wear a nun outfit on Halloween, right? It's very disrespectful to Catholics or people who dress up as priests, right? They feel like it's very disrespectful to the faith, and once you disrespect a faith by wearing their religious garments as a costume that you're not even familiar with, you're degrading it and you're putting it down. And so that is the way I'm taking it from my perspective. And I'm not taking it lightly. I'm thinking about what I'm doing. And I do understand all the things I'm reading in the Quran. I mean, I've read Shakespeare, I've read Hegel's Phenomenology of Spirit. I'm very well versed in Old English and Modern English and different dialects within the United States. And very familiar with a lot of Spanish linguistics and French linguistics, so I am perfectly able to understand. But I'm very careful. My atheist friends will say, hey, well, why don't you criticize what you're reading? My other friends will say, why don't you get into the analytics and explore it? My linguistic friends will say, why don't you trace what the words mean? And I mean, there's 1,000 different branches where I could let my mind expand and explore the book. But let me tell you, as someone who's read a lot of books, I will only speak when the book prompts me to speak. And that will come organically and naturally, and I cannot force it. So if I'm reading the book and it tells me in my inner being, just read, just listen, just read and focus, and don't do commentary yet, then I will do that. The commentary in my brain comes naturally. And then when you reread a text, another thought will come the next time you read it. And the third time you read it, another thought will come. The brain must be allowed to filter the words through its own cognition process. So I must allow my spirit and my mind to read this book, to read the Quran, and have respect for it. But I must not artificially make myself say anything, and I must not artificially condemn or embrace it. I must be responsible, and I must be honest to myself. So understand that, family. It's a journey. And you should be very weary of any person who is so quick to put on the garb of a Muslim. That wouldn't be honest. That would be dishonest. I would not trust that person, because I'd ask them, well, how much time did you take to learn? And how much time have you dedicated it? And how much have you thought about it and compared it to other faiths, right? Picking a faith and not picking a faith also are big decisions, right? Because where I live, you have to remember, if I wear that and someone sees it, problems can happen, and how would I do that? And I have to think, do I know enough to be not a soldier or a warrior or a prophet not propheter, that's the wrong word, that's the incorrect word, a minister, not a propheter, a minister or anything at all like that. And a lot of people know me as, the modesty aspect of Islam is attracting me more and more, but I do, like, if I go swimming, I wear a bathing suit, right? So people would say, wait a minute, why are you wearing a hijab and then you go to the beach and you swim and you're showing your body? Then I'd be a hypocrite. And then if I'm called a hypocrite, then I would be reflecting Islam bad. You see what I'm saying? So if it bothers some people, if while I'm reading it that I'm not wearing the hijab, well then maybe don't watch it then, and maybe just, listen to the audio. I mean, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but my culture has a different connection to hair, right? And I've grown up in faiths where hair was not that big of a thing. And as an Italian Native American, hair is part of the culture. Braids give strength. The longness of the hair is shown as virtue, fertility, health, wellness, respect for your body, right? So you guys have to kind of think, those who are getting offended, that is, you have to think about the culture in which I live, where I'm coming from, what my eyes see, and don't think of it as an insult to you and where you're at and how people are living where you are. You know, if we all thought like that, it would be a less dynamic world. And the world is not as black and white as that. And you should be happy for the people who are getting upset that the culture that is actively at war with another culture, those people inside are starting to say, hey, you know what, maybe we shouldn't just listen to what the news say about this faith, maybe I should read it. But a lot of people will not want to read the book because they'll be afraid of being told to wear a religious garment of a faith in which they have not fully understood or have been indoctrinated into. So therefore, I must do what my spirit says, and I must let the people who I'm trusting to guide me, which is Mufti Mek and the book itself, it will guide me. So let me know what you think, man.